Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to our Tafseer class. We are doing the kitab known as Al-Jami'u li Ahkam al-Quran of Imam Al-Qurtubi rahimahullah, and we're still dealing with the Tafseer of Surah Al-Mutaffifin. So without any delays, let's begin. Bismillahi walhamdulillahi wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. So we are here on page 147 of volume 22, and we are starting from ayah number 18 of Surah Al-Mutaffifin. So let's begin. He says, قوله تعالى كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين وما أدراك ما عليون كتاب مرقوم يشهده المقربون. So these four ayat are the crux of what he's going to be dealing with now in this next paragraphs. So he starts, he says, قوله تعالى كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين. Okay, before we actually move on, as is the norm, we normally just do the verbatim type translation. So كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين. That no, verily, the record of the pious is in the Illiyyeen. وما أدراك ما عليون, and what will make you know what is the عليون? كتاب مرقوم. It is a book or a destination in a book, a register inscribed, يشهده المقربون, which is witnessed by those who are close to Allah. Like I said, I'm just leaving it at this. You'll understand further as we go through the tafsir itself. So he says, قوله تعالى كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين. It is again like he did last time. كلا بمعنى حق والوقف على تكذبون. وقيل أي ليس الأمر كما يقولون ولا كما ظنوا بل كتاب في سجين وكتاب المؤمنين في عليين. So he's commenting from a linguistic perspective as to why the ayah begins with kalla. So he's saying kalla means definitely. So it's actually carrying on like a continuous discussion, so to speak, from the point of the word tukadhibun, Allah condemning the kuffar and things. And then, so he says that if it thus the to put the translation of the whole portion in a nutshell, he says ليس الأمر كما يقولون ولا كما ظنوا, that things aren't like how they think or as they say. بل كتاب في سجين, but rather their record is in the sijin. وكتاب المؤمنين في عليين, and the kitab of the believers is in the عليين. وقال مقاتل كلا أي لا يؤمنون بالعذاب الذي يصلونه. Imam Muqatil, he said that definitely they don't believe in the punishment which they will be entered into. In other words, that they will be entered into Jahannam, they don't believe it. ثم استأنف فقال إن كتاب الأبرار مرفوع في عليين على قدر مرتبتهم. He says that after Allah made mention of the fact that the kuffar are denying the fact that they will go to Jahannam because they don't believe that there will be a resurrection or anything. So after mentioning that, Allah now shifts and Allah speaks on a new topic, and Allah mentions that the record of the believers, it is marfu'un fi illiyin, it is raised in the illiyin ala qadri martabatihim, according to the level of the, or at least according to their individual level, to put it in those terms. In other words, the higher your level, the higher you'll be in the عليين, so to speak. قال ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما أي في الجنة، وعنه أيضا قال أعمال في كتاب عند الله في السماء. So Hazrat Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, two things reported from him over here. Number one, he said Illiyyeen, he interpreted it as in Jannah. And also from him, he interpreted it as in the sky. He says the seventh sky. Oh, no, wait, that's the wrong one. Their deeds are in a book by Allah in the sky. Not that Allah is located in a place or in the sky or and things of the sort, because the sky and everything was created by Allah, and Allah is not contained by Allah's creation. Otherwise, you know, one alimi explained this point. He said that when you put Allah in a place, then you are making the creation of Allah greater than Allah. Wa na'udhu billahi min dhalik. Because time and space covers everything. So now if, you know, yeah, okay, now let me not get into the falsafa and all the kalam and all those sort of stuff right now. But nonetheless, in short, the point being that Allah is not in a place. The kitab of the believers, that is there in the sama, not that Allah is in that place. Because, like I say, there's a hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Kana Allah wa lam yakun shay'un ghayruhu," that Allah existed and nothing else existed. And this is from a linguistic perspective, shay. When the word shay is used, it means anything at all, from the biggest to the smallest thing. Not even an atom existed besides Allah. So, how does it make sense that Allah existed before anything? Then Allah created these things and then got bound by it. Then these things have more power than Allah. وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. So no, Allah is not contained with time, with place, with space, and stuff like this. That is when people have fallen into Christianity and they get their beliefs from such places. Then they put Allah in a place. Allah has never been in a place. Allah is not contained by Allah's creation. And that is one of our beliefs as Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, as Imam At-Tahawi rahimahullah mentions in his Aqidah Tahawiyah, لا تحويه الجهات الست كسائر المبتدعات, that Allah is not contained by the six directions like all other created matters. So the Arsh is in a place, the Sama is a place, the Kursi has a place, the Arsh has everything has a place, but Allah has no place. And that's the belief of the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So when you have a person and they feel that no Allah is in a place, then they are people having only a belief outside of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Any case, so moving on, he says وقال الضحاك ومجاهد وقتادة يعني السماء السابعة فيها أرواح المؤمنين. Imam Dhahak, Imam Mujahid, Imam Qatada, they said that, meaning the seventh sky, in there are the souls of the believers. Now, there's a lot which is going to be mentioned over here, but like I mentioned the last time when we did the Sijin, I just added in a bit of a something. Okay, let me read two paragraphs and then I'll come back to this point, inshallah. He says, وروى أجلع عن الضحاك قال هي سدرة المنتهى ينتهي إليها كل شيء من أمر الله لا يعدوها. So Imam Al-Ajla' and narrates from Imam Al-Dhahak, who said that this is the Sidratul Muntaha. Now Sidratul Muntaha is it's translated sometimes in English or in lectures as the furthest lote tree, L-O-T-E, the furthest lote tree. It is a point which even Jibreel alayhi salam may not cross. No creation of Allah goes beyond that point. The only one that ever crossed that point was Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So he says here, ينتهي إليها كل شيء من أمر الله لا يعدوها, that nothing comes beyond that point there. فيقولون, in other words, the malaika come and they can go as far as Sidratul Muntaha, and then they would say, Rabbi, abduka fulan, oh Allah, this particular slave of yours, وهو أعلم به منهم, and Allah knows him better than the malaika. You know, you don't have to come in and tell Allah, so and so. Allah knows him. The knowledge of Allah is beyond the understanding even of people. So it's like, if you are principal here over here, you know your students, but you can slip up. But the knowledge that the malaika have, oh, they only have that knowledge because of Allah, because Allah had given it to them. So how is it possible they can know something and Allah does not know it? So وَهُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِهِ مِنْهُم. Allah does not need to be told, but that's the way that Allah makes it. So they speak it out and they say, oh Allah, the slave of yours. فيأتيه كتاب من الله عز وجل مختوم بأمانه من العذاب. And then they will bring to this person. In other words, to put the picture in your mind here, a person has died, his soul has been taken up, he goes right up to Sidratul Muntaha, the furthest point a person can reach. And the Malaika now say, oh Allah, the years, and this is obviously only a pious, a good person, a Muslim. If you were a kafir, you're not reaching anywhere near here. But nonetheless, so you've come up all this way, and the Malaika now say, oh Allah, so and so, he's here, he passed away, his soul has been brought up. And then while he stands over there, Allah will send the Malaika to bring a book which is his book. In other words, the kitab which is being spoken about. مختوم بأمانه من العذاب, a book which is sealed, or as we would say in today's world, stamped. You know, you got your stamp, boom, there's your certificate, you can go, you can get on the plane and fly. So they'll come with a kitab which is stamped with بأمانه من العذاب, with the fact that he is safer from the punishment. Today you have a vaccination, all these COVID type vaccines and other evil haram stuff, and then they give you a stamp and say, there you go, you had it on this day and that time and stuff. So here you have, or you go for on holiday and they stamp your passport, you entered the country, whatever. So here you have a case, your book is signed, it is sealed, it is stamped that you are safe from the punishment of Allah. Allah is pleased with you, in other words. فذلك قوله تعالى كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين. So he says, Imam al-Dhahhak, he says that this is the understanding of the ayah كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين. Now moving on, he says وعن كعب الأحبار, Imam Ka'b al-Ahbar, he said قال إن روح المؤمن إذا قبضت صعد بها وفتحت لها أبواب السماء. When a believer, when a Muslim's soul is taken, it is lifted up وفتحت لها أبواب السماء, and the doors of the sky is open and the soul goes up now. وتلقتها الملائكة بالبشرى, and as the soul is coming up, a believer's soul will smell nice, like musk and things like this. Whereas a kafir soul will come up like a rotten egg, or like some rotting corpse and things, something that stink, and people are like, where does that stench come from? What's that filth? That sort of thing. So now on the flip side of the coin, when there's this nice smell coming up and the malaika all coming now, وَتَلَقَّتْهَا الْمَلَائِكَةُ بِالْبُشْرَى, all of the malaika coming, because the fact that you are clean, nice smelling, white, it shows that you are in a good position. When you are black, stinking, dirty, you're going to Jahannam. So anyway, so the malaika all come as your soul is going up, and all of malaika are coming, like they're crowding around you. It's like you are some guest of honor coming through here, and the malaika all coming, giving you glad tidings and stuff like this. ثم يخرجون معها حتى ينتهوا إلى العرش. But the malaika who are taking your soul, they, all of you greet all of these malaika as you're going up until you reach by the arsh. فيخرج لهم من تحت العرش رق. And then when you are now standing in front of the arsh of Allah, not that Allah is sitting on the arsh again, like I just mentioned, but here you are standing in front of the arsh. Like, let's put it in today's time, not today's time, but there's a statement that the ulama of Aqidah, they mentioned that the sama, the sky, the arsh, etc., is the qibla to dua, is the qibla of dua, like how the Kaaba is the qibla for salah. So if we want to make salah, Allah is not, we know the Kaaba is Baytullah, the house of Allah. Does that mean Allah is living in there? Does that mean Allah is inside the Kaaba? Not at all. A person says this, will say it's a kafir. But it is when something is attributed to Allah, it raises its honor. So the Kaaba is known as Baytullah, the house of Allah. In a like manner, the Arsh is not وَلَمْ يَتَّخِذْهُ مَكَانًا لِذَاتِهِ. Allah did not make the Arsh as a place, like some people taking their Christian beliefs, they believe God is an old man with a long beard and white robes. Either he rides on cherubs, and other times he sits there on a throne, waving his legs around and stuff. No such thing in Islam at all. So where you can't, anyway, the person comes now and he's in front of the Arsh. فيخرج لهم, and then فيخرج لهم من تحت العرش رق, and then from under the Arsh a scroll will be taken out. فيرقم ويختم فيه النجاة من الحساب يوم القيامة ويشهده المقربون. The scroll will be taken out and his name will be written in the scroll, and it will be sealed, in other words, stamped. In the old days, when you have a letter and you've written your letter, you've put it inside, then they would throw a drop of wax on it and then press the seal down. It would close it so that you can't break it. Nobody can break it open. If you break it open, obviously, somebody fiddled with it. But here it's a case that nobody can fiddle with something that Allah has decreed. So you will be written in and sealed. What? النجاة من الحساب يوم القيامة, that you will be saved from the reckoning on the day of Qiyamah. And وَيَشْهَدُهُ الْمُقَرَّبُونَ, and those near ones, meaning the malaika, the high-ranking malaika, they will witness it. So they will be there people in the masjid, and you're getting married, and the people are all around there, and they're witnessing you writing, for example, your name, and the other people, the girl's father, they're writing now the girl's name on your marriage certificate. So here, the malaika are watching your name being written into this register to say that you will be saved from the punishment and the reckoning on the day of Qiyamah. Now, with that having been said, now let's come to one point over here to explain the Illiyyeen. Now, what is being discussed in the ayah over here with regards to the Illiyyeen and the Sijjeen, just to summarize both of these things. The Sijjeen is another name for Jahannam, and it is also another name for technically a place in Barzakh. When a person dies and leaves this world, then he goes into Barzakh. Barzakh means that barrier realm between this world and Jannah. So you are in a realm which is temporary. Like Allah mentions, a barzakh between the two oceans, a barrier. So the two oceans don't mix. That's why you can see the meeting of the two oceans. One is blue, one is green, and they don't mix into one another. There's a barzakh between them. So in this manner, this barzakh is a lot of times people get things the wrong way. They think you are, when you die, you lay there in a grave. You don't. You die and a whole world opens up for you, either of goodness or evil. Evil in the sense of punishment, or goodness in the sense that why you think when people die and then somebody sees them in a dream, where are they? Laying in a grave? Never. Whenever anybody sees somebody, they're in a gathering, in a nice place. People see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam all the time. Who sees Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a grave over there? Nobody. They see, yes, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam receiving so and so. He's a shaheed. He just was martyred now. This is Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu sitting over here. Everybody sitting together. You were brought into the gathering. That is barzakh. All of that takes place in barzakh. So barzakh is this barrier realm where once you die from this world, you enter into barzakh. So it's, I'll have to give a talk at another time on the point of barzakh and all the things associated with it, but just to give it in a bit of a nutshell. So where the good people go to the Illiyyeen, the evil ones go to the Sijjeen. So if you are a Muslim and you were not one of those kafir types, then at the end of the day you end up in the Illiyyeen. Whereas if you were munafiq kafir one, then you're going to end up in the Sijjeen. So if you're in Sijjeen, like a Sijin, like a jail, that's your place of punishment. But the Illiyyeen, like Ulu, you are high, you are in a good place. So where exactly is the Illiyyeen? You'll find many opinions over here. Is it in the sky? Is it there above, outside the doors of Jannah? Different things. To summarize, like the word itself gives you the meaning of ulu, highness. So in other words, you are taken up. Okay, and I know there's probably you may have come across different hadith as well. So you hear the person, his soul is taken up and then he's taken down to his grave. Yes, he's taken down to his grave to answer those three questions: that who is your Lord, what is your deen, or what did you say with regards to this man that was sent to you, meaning Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when you answer those questions and it is said, now my servant has spoken the truth, then the grave itself is made wide. You're not going to stay in that grave, but despite that, the grave is made wide for you. But now, from that point, you now go to barzakh, as we would refer to it. So now here you come, and the people you found imam, they made mention that in a dream somebody saw this imam, and then they asked him like, what do you do? So he say, no, there's that particular imam of hadith, and every Wednesday, for example, we go and sit in a halqa of his, we attend the class by him. In barzakh, you've already died and left this world, but that connection with deen and knowledge didn't leave them. So even in barzakh, that's what they were doing, listening to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, studying under so and so, and things of that nature. So anyway, so that is what the Illiyyeen is when we speak in the context of people leaving from this world. So the tafsir over here is not dealing with that part of things per se. It's dealing more with the linguistics on the kitab which is being spoken about, same like we did with the Sijjin. But we know that Sijjin is also a name of Jahannam. We know that Sijjin is also, you can say, a, like he said, the lowest low point where the kuffar will be punished. So there were many opinions when we did Sijjin. So in a like manner, you'll see many opinions here when we're doing the Illiyin. But generally, when you find ulama talking about the Illiyin, then what is being referred to is that place where the believers go after death. When you find when the sur is blown, the trumpet is blown, and everything is destroyed, and it's blown for a second time, and everything is brought back to life, that's when there's no more barzakh from that point. Now it is the day of resurrection. It is the day of hisab, Yawmul Qiyamah, Yawmul Hisab, same thing. The day when you will be resurrected, the day when you will be taken to a task and to a reckoning, and then either Jannah or Jahannam. So now you are in that place. But nonetheless, so Barzakh lasts for this entire duration. Everybody who dies in this world goes across into Barzakh, either to the Illiyin or to the Sijjin, but Barzakh nonetheless. Anyway, so that's just a little bit on Barzakh. Moving on, he says, وقال قتادة أيضا في عليين هي فوق السماء السابعة عند قائمة العرش اليمنى. Imam Qatada, he said that in the Illiyin, what is the Illiyin? The Illiyin is above the seventh sky عند قائمة العرش اليمنى. But like you can say, by the right pillar of the Arsh. In other words, that's where the Illiyin is located. It's in Barzakh. But there's a lot to be said on this topic. Unfortunately, we don't have that sort of time. We need probably 3 classes just to cover that point. So much I may have mentioned on it. But nonetheless, just to summarize, so like I said, like we did last time with Sijin, it mentioned they in the lowest of the low where they're being punished and everything like that. So they're not up in the sky, they're down in the bottom because the kuffar cannot go past the first sky already. So anyway, the believers, their souls are taken up to that point over there. Now here he mentions by the right hand pillar of the Arsh. Others will say no, outside the doors of Jannah. The White House. Not the White House in America, but the White House which is there in Barzakh, where the pious people, when I say pious, I mean people of Islam and Iman, they were proper Muslims who live their life according to Islam, that's where they will be. So obviously, the better you are, the closer you'll be, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be the first to enter Jannah. So the better you are, the closer you are to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The worse you are, the further away you are. But generally, that's how it goes. But in any case, so قال البراء بن عازب رضي الله عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عليون في السماء السابعة تحت العرش. Yeah, هذا البراء بن عازب رضي الله عنه, he said that Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم said the عليون, you can take as in the Illiyin, normal Arabic plural form. So it is في السماء السابعة, in the seventh sky, تحت العرش, under the arsh. So like I say, under the arsh, everything essentially is under the arsh. So under the arsh is also used as a way of saying in a good position, because the shade of the arsh is upon them, different things like this here. So a person would look at the various opinions, and then there'll be you make jamma between all the different viewpoints to say that yes, it's beneath the arsh because the arsh is above everything. It may be on the right hand side, but still beneath it. But it is also outside the doors of Jannah, because at the end of the day, it's all heading in the same sort of direction, because Jannah comes, and then comes the Arsh, because the Arsh is the ceiling of Jannatul Firdaus, the highest level of Jannah. So, you got all of these sort of things. So we say there's no contradiction between any of them. They all fit in part and parcel. It's like one is looking from the left, one is looking from the top, one is looking from the bottom. It's as if it's being described in different ways, but essentially everybody's looking at the same object. Any case, let's do this last piece. He says وعن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما أيضا هو لوح من زبرجدة خضراء معلق بالعرش أعمالهم مكتوبة فيه. Hazrat Abdullah ibn Abbas رضي الله عنه are giving another interpretation for the word the Kitab Marqum. This uh, kitab where the people's names are written in that was being spoken about. According to Hazrat Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, in another tafsir now, he mentioned that it is a tablet, lawh, like the lawh mahfuz, the protected tablet. So yeah, it is not your iPad tablets, but it means like a slab, something solid that is written upon. So it is a tablet made out of zabarjadatin khadra'a. Now, what is zabarjadatin khadra? It is green zabarjad. So there are two opinions in English as to what this is. One is a gem which is known as peridot. Peridot is a yellowish green gem. You're welcome to go and Google it so you can see what peridot looks like. Peridot. So peridot is one. And the second one is, especially when you're using it in the context of zabarjadatin khadra, green zabarjad. So another name is aquamarine. Another gem in the same category as peridot is one known as aquamarine. Now, aquamarine comes in many different colors with a bluish tinge, a grayish tinge, things like this, turquoise, teal, when you break the blues down into different colors. So you even get a greenish tinged aquamarine as well, green aquamarine as it may be called. So either it is made out of green aquamarine or peridot. Peridot is the deeper green out of the two, obviously, especially when you look at the two side by side. Then peridot has or you can even say it's like emerald, even though there's a different word which is usually used for emerald. The point being, just simply saying that it is like a tablet which is valuable. If we were going to say it's a piece of a slab, some marble over there, marble itself is expensive, but obviously it's not in comparison to aquamarine and peridot, and that itself is not in comparison to emeralds now. But nonetheless, so he says it is made out of this, and I'll go with peridot over here. It is a tablet made out of peridot, which is mu'allaqun bil arsh. It is hanging from the arsh. In other words, it's attached to the arsh. أعمالهم مكتوبة فيه, and the actions are written within it. In other words, this kitab marqum, all your deeds are written in that tablet over there. And if you are from the good people, your deeds will be inside that book, in other words. Okay, that's the end of page 137. I thought we would have done more for tonight, but somehow we ended up spending 28 minutes just on one page. So that being said, then we'll end on this point for tonight, inshallah ta'ala. Until next time, we end it, we say, wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik. نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.